Hello everybody, and we are finally back with another episode of Building Felucia in LEGO. And in this episode we get a ton of terrain work done, as well as some work on the shuttle, and there are a few design changes and layout changes that I will go over. And one last thing is at the end of the video, I will be changing up the dates of a few things. So without further ado, let's get into a time lapse. Okay everybody, so after the time lapse I got just a little more work done over here, but I have sadly run out of dark tan again. I'm not too sure how I'm taking this much dark tan up in this mock, but so that means I'll need to do one more order. I'm going to not underestimate how many pieces I will need this time, and so that will also delay the finished product of this mock for another week or two, but I was already going to give myself a little more time to finish up all the terrain. And I also got this little section of rock work done. If you're wondering where that lift went, I decided to skip it since it was about here on the platform, and so it was such a large gap between the landing platform and the lift, it didn't seem to make sense to me to have it there, and I didn't want to mess around with that a ton, so I just decided to remove it and just do some more rock work there. I also would have had to do some kind of platform up here, and with all of the light bluish gray I used, those are the only bricks I have left, and I will need those for the door area. And one more change I have is with this section here. I actually want to do something with the top here and not cover it with dark tan. I think it'll look a little better that way. I've also decided to skip the purple mushroom. I really wanted to do it, but there wasn't a great way to do it on the scale I wanted. This is kind of what I came up with, but it would have been very hard to get the right kind of coloration, since I would have needed to use this purple plus like a magenta, or even like a trans pink or something, that would have just made it very hard to connect this and make it look good. So I'm deciding to skip that and just go all out in this kind of foliage, like small stuff. Hopefully it works out. And so anyways, let's get into the progress I've made on the shuttle. So, the progress I've made on the shuttle is pretty much just this back area. I was able to get the door in, which I'm very happy with. I think it turned out really good, and it looks pretty accurate to the concept art. And The only problem is this little section here has the, ramp that comes out, but I couldn't get the right width with having to fill this with a tile. And I also have these in dark gray. Sadly, that's pretty much all the progress I made. I spent most of the time I did work on the shuttle trying to figure out a way to fill this gap, and I still can't. I really don't know if I'm gonna have to redesign this whole upper wing section to somehow fill this in a different way, but it's just not working with anything I use. So again, if anybody has any ideas to fill that gap, please let me know down in the comments below. So moving on, if you're wondering why this episode was kind of underwhelming for waiting 2.5 weeks, or 3 weeks actually, I think, for this episode, it is because I've been working on a mock for Coconut Brick Studios mock contest, and that video that has that mock will be out in around a week from the release of this episode, so somewhere in there you'll get to see that mock. I'm very happy with it. I've done something I haven't done much of, which is snow terrain. And the final thing I want to talk about is the fact that I am pushing everything on my schedule back by about 2 months or so. And so, Felucia I want to have wrapped up in about a month, and then have about a month to take it apart and sort it, and do some other smaller mocks that I want to do before I get into a larger mock series. Okay, so sadly that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you for everyone who stuck around and watched the whole thing, and if you did enjoy the video, please consider liking it and subscribing. And so anyways, I will see you guys in the next episode of Building Felucia, which will hopefully not be delayed this time.